Phrasal Verbs 1. Food related. For pre-intermediate or intermediate level students. So, let us learn more about phrasal verbs. In the next few slides, you will learn more about phrasal verbs. You are not expected to learn these rules by heart. This information is only being mentioned to help you know more about phrasal verbs. The best way to learn about phrasal verbs is by using them whenever you can. Please don't be afraid of using phrasal verbs. So this slide shows you more about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs can be transitive or intransitive. We'll look more about that later. But for now, a transitive phrasal verb can be both inseparable or separable, whereas an intransitive phrasal verb is always inseparable. A transitive phrasal verb, an inseparable phrasal verb, is shown here below. Pam takes after me. She takes after me. So here the phrasal verb cannot be separated, whereas the separable phrasal verb put away can be separated. Put your books away, put away your books, or put them away. An intransitive phrasal verb cannot be separated and does not require an object. So, he broke down is an example. What is the difference between transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs? Here are the differences. Transitive phrasal verb requires an object. They can be separable or inseparable. For example, please don't pick at your food. This phrasal verb requires an object and is inseparable. Some phrasal verbs can be both transitive and intransitive. For example, eat up. Eat your food up before your friends arrive. Here the phrasal verb requires an object, food, and is separable. Intransitive phrasal verbs do not require an object. They cannot be separated, they are inseparable. For example, we're going to eat in. This phrasal verb does not require an object and is inseparable. Some phrasal verbs can be both transitive and intransitive. For example, eat up so that we can leave. Here, the same phrasal verb requires no object and is inseparable. How can you remember which phrasal verbs are transitive or intransitive? The answer is, you don't need to remember because the best way to learn is through intuition. You need to get a feel for using the phrasal verbs by taking note of them whenever you come across them, by not being afraid to use them. You will find that the more you practice, the better you'll get. You should try to use them whenever you have the opportunity. By doing this, it will become more and more intuitive. Phrasal verbs are fun. Phrasal verbs manage to convey a lot in just 2 words. Are you feeling confused? Don't worry. There are some exercises for you to practice on at the end of the lesson, which will help you on your way. The phrasal verbs we're going to look at today are all food related, and on this slide you can see some examples. We will be looking at some of them in this presentation lesson. Phrasal verb to eat in is intransitive and does not require an object. Eat in or also eat out. I don't feel like going out tonight. Let's eat in. We can get a delicious takeaway from the Indian down the road. To eat in means to eat at home. To eat out means to eat in a restaurant. Why don't we eat in tonight? I can make us a lovely meal from my new recipe book. I don't feel like cooking. Let's eat out for your birthday. Shall I book a table at that new Italian restaurant? Phrasal verb to eat up is transitive, separable, or intransitive, inseparable. No object required. Eat up. Eat up your greens or you won't get any pudding. To eat up means to finish all your meal. It's usually used with children. If we eat up quickly, we can make it in time for the show. I told him to eat it all up because he is too skinny. I said, eat your food up or you'll slowly disappear. Phrasal verb to dig in. Intransitive, no object required. To dig in. Dig in before your food gets cold. To dig in means to start eating. Phrasal verb to pig out. Intransitive, no object required. To pig out or to pig out on. I always pig out when I go to an all-you-can-eat restaurant. To pig out means to eat a lot of food all at once. The buffet was great. I picked out on all those delicious desserts. Phrasal verb to polish off. Transitive, separable. To polish off. To polish off means to eat something until it's finished. He polished off a plateful of lentils in no time. He polished off all the meat and just left the vegetables. He polished it all off. Now you choose the correct phrasal verb from the list below. I really love ice cream, so whenever we have it for dessert, I always don't on those strawberries. You know you always come out in a rush. I would love to on those cakes, but I'm on a diet. I really love ice cream, so whenever we have it for dessert, I always pig out. Don't pig out on those strawberries. You know you always come out in a rush. I would love to pig out on those cakes, but I am on a diet. Pig out is intransitive and inseparable. Pig out does not require an object and cannot be separated. Choose the correct phrasal verb here. Come on, or we're going to be late for the show. I know you don't like eating fast, but I really need you to, because I'm getting really bored waiting for you. And the last one. I don't know when we're going to get our next meal. So, and here are the answers. Stop picking at your food. If you don't like it, then just leave it. Why don't you decide what you want to eat instead of picking at the dishes on the buffet table? Recently, you just pick at your food. Is there something wrong? Pick at is transitive and inseparable. Pick at requires an object and cannot be separated. Let's look at the next one. Choose the correct phrasal verb. Let's. Tonight, I don't feel like going out. I want to make a special dinner for you. Let's. We have to. tomorrow night as I'm on call. And here are the answers. Let's eat in tonight. I don't feel like going out. I want to make a special dinner for you. Let's eat in. We have to eat in tomorrow night as I'm on call. Eat in is intransitive and inseparable. Eat in does not require an object and cannot be separated. Next exercise. Choose the correct phrasal verb. Would you like to on your birthday, or would you prefer to stay at home? There's a new restaurant open in town. Would you like to at the weekend? We could try it out. We have to until we get the dishwasher fixed. And here we have the answers. Would you like to eat out on your birthday, or would you prefer to stay at home? There's a new restaurant open in town. Would you like to eat out at the weekend? We could try it out. We have to eat out until we get the dishwasher fixed. Eat out is intransitive and inseparable. Eat out does not require an object and cannot be separated. Here's the next one. Choose the correct phrasal verb here. Let's start eating while it's still hot. He's so impolite, he just, without waiting for anyone. Go on. I made it especially for you. Dig in. Let's start eating while it's still hot. He's so impolite, he just digs in without waiting for anyone. Go on. Dig in. I made it especially for you. Dig in is intransitive and inseparable. Dig in does not require an object and cannot be separated. And now choose the last phrasal verb. There are no more roast potatoes left. Jack really loves them and his, them, he, whatever you give him to eat, as he's always hungry. Don't all the food. Some of us still have to eat, you know. And here are the answers. There are no more roast potatoes left. Jack really loves them, and he's polished them off. He polishes off whatever you give him to eat, as he's always hungry. Don't polish off all the food. Some of us still have to eat, you know. Polish off is transitive and separable. Polish off requires an object and can be separated. Here are some of the words that have been used in this presentation, translated into various languages. Separable, inseparable, greens, pudding in British English, in American English, a dessert or a sweet. To book, skinny, quickly, slowly, disappear, hungry, delicious, rash, to get bored, to be on call, left. You can find LibLingo on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, or on our website. On YouTube, you will find all our videos, and on our website, www.liblingo.com, you will find our videos and our tips for how to learn languages better.